Hey everybody, Adrian here with the Northwoods family, and I am out enjoying a real nice ride in our neck of the woods. We live in southwest Wisconsin, so when we say we're Northwoods, I guess we mean compared to 80% of the country, but I'm sure there's some northern Wisconsiners who would look at that and say, you guys aren't Northwoods. But I don't know, if you look around, there's a lot of woods here. It gets cold in the winter, and as I said, we're north for about 80% of the country, and we like it up here. But the area of the state we live in doesn't have a lot of off-road trails. We usually have to travel a little bit further to get into our off-road trails. So that leaves us a lot of road routes that we can ride. And we've had some questions from our previous videos about riding on road routes, or is your machine street legal, or how are you allowed to ride on the road, or things like that. So we decided we'd put together a video explaining that a little bit today, and then also giving you some tips and things like that for riding on the road a little bit more safely, or having a little bit more fun when you're out there riding on the road. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So we appreciate you watching. It would really help us out if you hit that subscribe button. That really helps out our YouTube growth and the algorithm and all that weird stuff. Give it a like if you enjoy it, and yeah, if you got any questions, obviously leave them in the comments below. But hitting that subscribe button is the biggest thing we need right now. We've been seeing a ton of growth on the channel, and we really appreciate it, guys. We have a lot of fun coming out here making videos for you, and hopefully they're fun and even educational sometimes. So all right, we're going to talk about riding your UTV on road routes here. Come on up. So before we get into all the tips about riding on road routes, first, you guys might not know what road routes are. So we're going to talk to you about that and explain what a road route is compared to a trail. So obviously a trail is an off-road spot just designated for UTVs. It could be an old railroad bed like our Cheese Country Trail that we did a video on, or it could be some of the off-road routes, more traditional ones that you see in our other videos up north or other parts of the state. So a road route is actually a regular road for motor vehicle traffic that's been opened up to UTVs, ATVs, dirt bikes, things like that. And they're going to vary from place to place around the country. So here in Wisconsin, we have a ton of road routes. Not every county has UTV, ATV road routes, but most of them do. And the thing with the road routes is it's going to vary from town to town or state to state or things like that. Now, there are states where you can actually get your UTV registered as a street legal vehicle. I believe Michigan's one of them. I've heard potentially Colorado, Utah, some of those western states, but I don't know for sure. All I know is about specifically Wisconsin. I know in Wisconsin, unfortunately, we cannot register these as street legal vehicles, so that does limit our options a little bit. But there's a lot of counties, a lot of towns, municipalities, things like that, that have designated certain roads or even all of their roads as UTV routes, meaning it's legal to drive on them with certain restrictions. So that's what a UTV road route is. That's what it's all about, and hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of what we're doing here and how we can do this legally. All right, so the first thing we'll talk about is equipment, because everybody likes talking about gear. So we're going to talk about that, even though it may not be the most important part. It probably isn't. We'll talk about it, get it out of the way. So a good set of radial tires will really smooth out your ride. You'll get a lot less vibration coming from the machine when you're driving. The road noise is going to be significantly reduced. So, it's also going to give you better traction on the road. It's amazing. When I went from the original Dirt Commander tires, which are great off-road tires, that came with the General, to these Tusk Terabytes I had, it's actually amazing how much grippier the side-by-side feels in the corners and things like that. So the first thing is tires. The next thing that I would recommend too, looking at, is potentially adding some mirrors. I'd say a rear view mirror is absolutely a must, and side view mirrors are really nice too. You got to be careful because generally we're going slower than cars. A lot of times you'll be restricted to your speed to like 30 miles an hour, or you know, you might have a slow area where you got to drive 10 by some houses. Having a good set of mirrors so you can see who's coming up behind you and maybe wants to pass you is really important. Turn signals can be really helpful. One of the first times we were out road riding with our UTV, we were following another side-by-side. We were gonna make a left turn. So I stuck my hand out the window in the universal left turn signal sign, and a vehicle that was behind us, driven by some younger folks, must have thought that I was trying to wave them by. And they started passing us on a double yellow line around a blind corner, and as they started going around us, they recognized the error they had made, and they slowed down, got behind us. But obviously could have turned out pretty bad for them or for us or the other vehicle, the other side-by-side that was driving with us. So I don't know if it's a millennial thing, no offense to the millennials out there, but you know, maybe it's something they don't teach in driver's ed anymore, hand signals. So having some turn signals can really help out, I think, make you a little bit safer. So the second tip that I have is just driving with awareness. And any of you who have ridden motorcycles especially know what I'm talking about. You really are at a disadvantage here, a disadvantage in terms of physics when it comes to being involved in a collision. It's easy for a car to sneak up behind on you, and then all of a sudden they're passing you when you don't see them or things like that. So definitely have to be checking your mirrors frequently, especially if you're going a little bit slower than traffic, and just keeping a general awareness. Even deer, we've had deer kind of run out in front of us, and you really got to be on your toes. You don't want to drive distracted. I would not want to hit a deer at 40 miles an hour in one of these things, even with the windshield on. I think that could just end very badly. All right, so number 3 tip is watch your speed and follow the rules of the road in general. Remember, when you're driving this thing on a road route, you're a motor vehicle, okay, and you have to follow the same road rules. You can't just be swinging left turns from the right-hand lane. Be aware of your speed, and that's for a couple reasons. One, just remember these don't handle like normal motor vehicles, okay? Your braking distance might be different. You're going to have a higher center of gravity, so being able to swerve and avoid things that you might normally get away with in your car or even your SUV, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do. Understand the limitations of your machine too. This General, like I said, I've had it up to 70 miles an hour. It really hauls, but not all machines can do that. And depending on your tires and the condition of your machine and things like that, you know what, like 50 miles an hour might be really fast for you. 30 might be all you want to push it. So you got to be smart about it, and know your limitations of your machine. All right, so another tip, which is probably also a rule of the road in most places, that's just simply ride on the far right side of the roadway. Don't hold up traffic. If you see traffic, slow down when it's a safe spot and wave them by if they're getting stuck behind you. You don't want to create a situation where somebody's impatient and they want to try to sneak around you maybe somewhere where they shouldn't, because even if you're right, even if the other driver is at fault on an accident like that, you're still going to lose if you get into a collision. And in a lot of places, regular motor vehicles might have the right-of-way, and I guarantee pedestrians, bicycles, horses, things like that are going to have the right-of-way pretty much anywhere you ride. That's kind of a universal principle. So, stay to the far right, slow down when you're going to pass pedestrians. In our state, you are required to slow down to 10 miles an hour. There's some places where you have to slow down if you're passing real close to a house or horses or livestock or things like that. So ride on the far right, yield to the vehicles you need to yield to, and just be courteous. All right, so the next tip is if you're out riding with friends or a group of people, watch your following distance. And that's for a few reasons. It's not so much hitting the UTV in front of you, but obviously that could be an issue. You'd feel really stupid if you did that. But something I learned when I drove emergency vehicles through town is when you have something driving on the road that is a little out of the ordinary, whether that's an ambulance or a police car or a flashy looking side-by-side, I've seen it tons of times. Drivers have a tendency to just gawk, to stare as one of them drives by, and then they'll pull out from a side road right in front of you, and not see you, because they're not expecting another one to follow. They're just gawked, their gaze is fixed on that first one. So, leave a little bit of following room. When you see that cross traffic up there, try to make eye contact with the driver, make sure they see you, slow down when you're approaching intersections and danger areas, even if you have the right of way. I've seen a lot of crashes involving, again, emergency vehicles where that exact thing happened. Same thing can happen with UTVs. Another recommendation or tip I have for riding on these trails is pre-scout your routes a little bit. Don't just assume that everything is a UTV trail. Go online, do some research. Like I said earlier, most of these routes will vary from county to county, or even township to township. Couple different places you can look. You can get a nice map book. Like this is one of all of the Wisconsin UTV routes and off-road trails. You can get it through the Wisconsin ATV Association. I'm guessing not every state has something that nice. You can go on, Polaris Ride Command app has got a lot of UTV routes listed, and you can go on Google Maps and you can look at topography, terrain, and things like that. So that'll also help you kind of plan maybe a little bit more scenic route, at least have an idea where you want to go. All right, next tip, don't overlook the road routes. And this is just in general. As you can see here, there's a lot of beautiful road routes in our neck of the woods, and there's a good chance, depending where you live, there's a lot of really good scenic road routes as well. So yeah, the way I look at it, it's kind of like going for a motorcycle ride, but I can take the whole family along. So don't overlook the road routes. You can look at a topographic map and find some nice hilly, curvy spots depending where you live. And is it as much fun for me as riding on an off-road trail? No, probably not, but it's certainly enjoyable on a beautiful day like today. It's just nice to go for a ride and kind of get the wind in your hair and be outside and just enjoy a nice cruise in the side-by-side looking at some beautiful sights. So don't overlook the road routes. Just because you live a ways away from your off-road trails doesn't mean you can't enjoy your side-by-side, especially with your family or your kids in the area where you live. All right, so we've gone through quite a few tips and hints and stuff like that for making your road driving in your UTV a little bit more interesting. But the final one I want to end on is simply remember that you represent the entire off-roading community. You represent all the side-by-side riders out there, all the UTV riders, all the ATV riders, all the dual sport motorcycle riders, dirt bikers, you name it, all right? You're going to have a lot of interactions with the non-off-roading public. In other words, don't ruin it for everybody else. Be an ambassador of our sport. And that simply means, ride respectfully. Don't go blowing by people's houses or pedestrians at, 9,000 RPM. Slow down a little bit. You know, be respectful, use your turn signals, use hand signals, yield your way to pedestrians and motor vehicles. And I mean, you know, for Pete's sake, it just comes down to be a decent human being. You know, don't litter, you know, don't do stupid stuff. My wife sits on the county board, and they approve or deny, you know, UTV routes and things like that from time to time. And believe it or not, there are people out in the community who don't like these things. They don't like ATVs, they don't like UTVs, they think they're loud, they think they're dangerous. Just be aware of that, and remember, you represent all of us out here. And a few bad experiences, you know, an accident or something like that is all it takes for some people to step in, local government, law enforcement, whatever, and start speaking up against UTVs. So be an ambassador to our sport. You know, frequent the local establishments, buy gas in town, you know, eat out at the restaurants and the bars, be responsible with how much you drink. You know, if you're taking a trip, stay at the local hotels, the local campgrounds, and be sure that you go out there and, you know, if a business caters to UTVs or, you know, ATVs, whatever, and they've got signs up, or, you know, they go out of their way to make you feel at home there, you know, make sure you let them know, hey, I appreciate that. Go up on Yelp, go up on Google, leave them a positive review, let people know you were passing through the area on your side-by-side, you know, or your bike or whatever, and, you know, make sure people see that. Do your part to go out there and show people that you appreciate the opportunities to ride on these routes, that you appreciate the opportunities to be able to bring your side-by-side into your, you know, villages and, you know, patronize your local businesses and stuff like that. So, you know, show support for people who support you. You know, give something back, join a club, go on some of the group rides and things like that. Like I said, just be an ambassador for the sport. It'll go a long way, and it helps all of us out. All right, well, that concludes our list of tips for riding on road routes, on routes that are roads that are open to motor vehicles, and how you can do so safely with your side-by-side or ATV or whatever type of machine you might have, and also how you can make it a little bit more enjoyable, and again, just help everybody out, you know, being an ambassador for our sport, and making sure that you can do your part to help us get more of these routes opened up for side-by-sides or ATVs, and making sure that the ones we have don't get closed down. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you found it worthwhile, maybe learned something or have some ideas. If you have some ideas of your own, we'd love to hear them. Put them in the comments section below. And then do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. That is how we get supported. That's the best way to support our channel and our family as we go off on all of our adventures. We really appreciate it. The channel's growing fast. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate the support. As always, have a great day and ride safe.